Welcome. Hello. Time for Blocktalk. Yes, that's one of the proud members of the Digix team right there. So we are on Bitcoin block 422 and 21. Yeah, 400,022. Sorry, I'm at a coffee shop if you hear a blender in the background, but I'll do my best to mute it during the show. But we got some awesome sponsors to talk about first. Maybe once the blender stops. Okay. The FinTech and Blockchain World Expo 2016, fabtech.ca. These guys are putting on an awesome conference in September. Oops. Yeah, if you guys want to come, I'm currently working on that deal to be a media sponsor with them. If you check the link below, probably at a later date, probably sometime next week, you'll actually see a discount code from Blocktalk. And yeah, if you help me down to the conference and shout at the top of your lungs when you see me, I love Blocktalk, I'll give you a t-shirt. Our other sponsor will be Bittrex. So these guys are actually pretty much handling all of the volume from Digix and their DAO tokens. It's a wonderful verified exchange. These guys are doing great work, and unlike the other exchange that was holding Digix tokens, they have never been hacked. So really great team. Lots of I think it's like 20 years experience in the Microsoft industry. They're really building a fantastic platform here, and you guys should definitely use them. I trust them with a majority of my hot funds. Also, we have the live chat going, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. A couple of the Digix guys will be popping in and out of here, and probably field them for you too. Usual, like, follow, subscribe, check us out on Steemit, and if you feel like sending beer to our live audience, this is the address. I'll post it in the chat. Okay, so without further ado, hi, I'm Alex, and thank you for tuning in. And we got a fantastic show here today with probably one of the coolest Ethereum projects I've come across. But they've definitely been kind of low-key. I feel like they're not getting the recognition they deserve. But let's hear, I guess, their backstory from their CEO, Casey Cheng.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, loud and clear.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so I'm Kai. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Digix. Thanks for hanging out with us today. So I started Digix in December 2014. I left my previous job as an FX trader for a global investment bank on Wall Street because I kind of grew disillusioned with what I was doing. I was spending more time researching about Bitcoins and blockchain technology instead of finding out when the next interest hike would be. So yeah, I got into it and I never looked back. Sean, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Sean. I had a former brief banking background in Citi, as well as a local bank here in Singapore. And about a year ago, I joined Digix after getting very interested in blockchain technologies and obviously how this whole technology can help remove a lot of intermediaries that are required currently by financial institutions. And ever since then, I've been more involved with national projects on research writing with blockchain as well as IoT stuff. So I've never looked back ever since, and very happy to be here.
Well, we were happy to have you join us. So we have two more members of the team here. Let's, I guess, check in with Anthony, who's no longer a cat.
Yeah.
I've transformed back to my human form. My name is Anthony Eusebio. I'm the Chief Technology Officer of Digix Global. I've been in the blockchain. I've been interested in blockchain since around 2012, 2013, mining Litecoins and Bitcoins in the beginning. And then I found out about Ethereum late 2013 when they made their first announcement. And I just thought that the idea of generalized blockchain for smart contracts was a really cool idea. So I sort of got into it and started figuring out like what we could build. And Casey sort of reached out to me in 2013 to see if I can start a new company with him dealing with gold. And I suggested that we do something with Ethereum and gold. together to make a good compromise with our interests. And we came up with Digix, our Digix platform, and the Gold products that we have.
Very cool. Well, we're happy to have you here as well. And then we have our final member of the Digix team, Chris.
Hi guys, my name's Chris. I'm a long-term web developer, I guess. I had a startup in Hong Kong about 4 years ago, been building websites since a very early age. Discovered Ethereum about a year ago and sold my startup, went all in, and Digix was at the time the coolest project that was going. That was about 4 or 5 months ago. So I joined them to help them revitalize their front end. So I'm a front end engineer, and I've been happily building the app 2.0 with Anthony in the last 5 months.
Well, isn't it kind of cool that even if you wanted to build a front end and they didn't want you to, you could have just used the blockchain and then built your own front end?
Exactly, yeah.
Kind of one of the beauties of the space. You don't have to work together, but you definitely can to make things a tad easier.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and yeah, we have our final screen here. We got Decontrol, our live audience. Hey guys, wave hello. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, if you guys have any questions during the show, I'll definitely give you a couple cues in and you can ask them. Meanwhile, just enjoy the beer and the sandwich. All right, so let's kind of get into, I guess, the first couple questions here. So you guys actually have 2 tokens. They're DGX and GGD. Can you kind of explain the differences between the 2?
Sure. So DGX, each unit of DGX represents 1 gram of gold, which is divisible up to 0.0001 grams for micropayments. So it's essentially a fully gold-backed token. Now, Digix DAO itself, DGDs, if you participated in it, you would get a rebate or reward structure within the DGD tokens itself. So every quarter, after we do our quarterly audits, users that hold DGD tokens will be able to submit claims and rebates in the terms of DGX. So when someone sends DGX, there will be a transaction fee, and there's a daily demurrage fee involved in it. Now, these transaction fees, as well as part of the demurrage fees, would go into Digix DAO and would then be rebated to all DGD holders. So that's the 2 separate coins that we have.
Oops. I missed the mute button there for a sec. Okay. So yeah, you have the 2 tokens. The DAO one, I think, is probably the one that's on everyone's mind right now, being that the most popular DAO that we know about kind of just became defunct and it's no longer listed on CoinMarketCap, and there's been a lot of kind of news about it. It's really kind of the talk of the crypto space right now. So I guess, do you guys feel that that's maybe put a tarnish on the Ethereum blockchain and DAOs in general?
Well, to be fair, I think the DAO project was ambitious. It was good. I think overall, they managed to turn something negative into something positive. Now everyone's more aware of what a smart contract is, and people are taking extra steps to coding the right kind of security into the smart contracts. So I guess the entire ecosystem actually benefited from this. And I've read somewhere, maybe Anthony could confirm this, that in future it'll be much harder for people to do forks once the network grows and scales. So this might just be a one-off event on Ethereum.
Yes. So I don't foresee any forks happening again in the future. I think it was really a black swan event for the Ethereum community, and I think that there's a lot of lessons that were learned, and it actually is going to improve the ecosystem as well as the tools around Ethereum smart contracts. But just from this event, there's been a few other projects that have started to basically different types of tools, like symbolic analysis tools, that come up that will be available in the future to help us actually code more secure contracts. So I think the emergency created innovation, and I think that's really good for us. And the fork itself is just a sign that the community can get together to fix an issue, which unfortunately we don't see that in other projects. something exciting for us, and I think it's also exciting for other companies that are looking to build on the blockchain. That this, because the Ethereum community has been able to demonstrate that, that there, the consensus is there's a very big social aspect to consensus. It's not just a technical aspect to it. So I think that's very exciting for us and for other companies as well.
Yeah, I think one of the main things we probably learned was, you can't have all of those funds or on one contract. You guys kind of realized this, I think, beforehand, where you actually had a maximum on your DAO sale before the official DAO, or the Slockit DAO, as we'll call it. Yeah, so did you guys kind of develop your own smart contract for your DAO sale and DAO tokens, or were you kind of using the same standard DAO framework that Slockit developed or helped developed?
We actually looked at the standard DAO, the DAO contract framework, and we actually took some parts out of it, but we realized that we were going to have to customize one to fit our requirements. So it started out as sort of a fork of the DAO framework, but it became its own thing after we finalized the plans.
Okay, so you guys don't have the same recursion loop, or did you kind of have to do, a change of your smart contract after the fact?
Now we don't have any of the recursion issues. So like our smart contracts are much more controlled. So we do like the idea of like adding escape hatches, which are a way for us to basically, in case of emergency, defend our DAO from illegal access funds. So I think that now like a lot of people think it's a good idea. In the beginning, I think people kind of sort of frowned upon the idea of having giving like key access to to functions that can release funds. But I think that's a good idea if it's a curated DAO. To have those type of escape hatches in case of emergencies, so that we don't have to force a hard fork on a
I've got a comment in the YouTube chat. It's like the cat yawning is making me tired. So for the DAO, oh no, I'm losing my train of thought here. But you guys. What sort of voting standards are you guys implementing? Like, the original DAO had like a 20% minimum for quorum. They had, yes, no, and split. And you guys kind of have those same principles?
So our voting system is based on coin locking. So when you do voting, you will actually have to lock your tokens into a contract that allows you to vote and prevents double spending of votes. So we do coin locking, but our contracts are going to be like much more simplified and much more controlled, and it's just to vote on release of funds for the projects that are proposed on.
Okay. So right now, like the company, I guess, is kind of operating kind of rather centralized. There's the four of you, well, now three in the call, but there's a couple of you guys, and you're kind of managing all everything until the DAO is kind of up and running. Is that kind of my understanding of it?
Yes. So the idea is that we wanted to put training wheels on first, so that we can understand the model that we're working with. So I think that the idea of a quorum is a good idea in the future. Once we have the actual data on how much people participate in DAOs, we don't have any of that data. So everything is very new right now. So putting a minimum quorum was sort of a hard decision to make for us. Since we don't know, how many people will have their tokens locked up on exchanges and how many people actually are going to participate in the DAO. So I think that we're going to start off with something simpler so that we can collect the data and then automate it more in the future.
Well, I think that's a really good strategy. Like the original DAO, or the Slockit DAO, it was very ambitious, and like I think they probably set their goals too high. Like they just wanted to be a DAO right from the beginning. You know, they kind of had a rough idea of what their goals wanted to be, but like they were saying, like we hope we get hired by the company. So I'm thinking that like the most successful DAOs we're probably going to see in the next couple of years here are not going to be, right off the start DAOs. They're going to be kind of what you guys are doing. They're companies that become more DAO-like. Yeah, that's maybe more my opinion. But any thoughts here from the other guys, Casey or Sean?
Right. Yeah. So we are carefully devising our own DAO governance here to remain sustainable. I think in the future, other DAOs, what we are actually hoping to see is that due to the volatile nature of what Ether is, we actually have a couple of requests coming in from Singapore and other DAOs around the region who are actually looking to raise their DAO funds in DGX Go, which we think is a whole brilliant idea because this is where you can actually own stable store of value of your own DAO funds instead of being susceptible to what Ether prices is. Just some background on what the price, or rather our crowd sale contract wallet looked like. On the day the crowd sale ended, we raised about 5.5 million worth of USD on the actual day itself. And throughout time, we even reached as high as 11 before coming down to about 3. So we actually saw a lot of volatility, and a lot of our users were actually wondering that if there could be a lot more stable store of value for crowd sale. So I think DAOs in the future going forward would be concerned with what the volatile nature of cryptocurrencies they have in their wallets, as well as not being too overly ambitious probably in the way they structure the governance in obtaining project proposals, and probably being a lot more focused on what they're looking to achieve for.
Cool. So maybe I'll go to Decontrol here to see if they have any technical questions about the Ethereum and DAO nature of your project. You guys are on mute, by the way. Paging Decontrol.
I got a question?
No?
Nice.
All right. The strong silent types. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Alex. I first just want to mention about where you could possibly get the coins of DGX and DGD at the moment.
Yeah.
So DGX at the moment is currently not available. We have temporarily suspended our marketplace, so there will be no further sale of any Go Back tokens or Go bars until our second client is launched sometime in early August. As for DGDs itself, it's currently available since early April. So you could purchase DGDs, or rather the Digix DAO crowd sale token, on a few exchanges. Firstly, there's Yunpi. Yunpi is a Chinese exchange. They're one of the most secure exchange, and they currently list DGD with the local Chinese yuan and DGD Bitcoin pairs. And you can find DGDs as well on Open Ledger and BitSquare. And lastly, DGD is available. The most recent one, the exchange that we partner with, is Bittrex. So you could purchase DGDs on Bittrex. Anthony worked pretty closely with one of the founders of Bittrex, so he was very kind enough to give us this this listing space on Bittrex, and we are kind of seeing a lot of volume there as well. Yeah. So previously, when we had our coins listed on Gatecoin before they went down, we actually saw a daily volume of almost close to $1 million US. So DGD itself, I would say, is pretty popular, and it is really kind of tied to the company's performance, as well as plans that we have here at Digix.
Yeah, it looks like about 70% of the volume is on Bittrex right now, and then the Chinese exchange you mentioned, I think, makes up a good chunk of the other portion of it. But so was there any negative effects of the Gatecoin hack? Like, did you guys kind of lose some tokens or customer funds or anything like that?
Well, actually, they managed to secure 100% of the DGDs in Gatecoin. The only thing that affected us was the liquidity drop once they shut. Because there were active market makers, I believe, on Gatecoin supporting DGDs. And I think there were some people who don't trust the Yunbi, the Chinese exchange, because it's not as prominent as the other exchanges. So hence we had this drop in liquidity. Hopefully when Gatecoin comes back in mid-August, we will get back the same kind of volume that we saw before they crashed.
Yep, and for upcoming plans of DGX, we're actually looking to work with existing current exchanges like Bittrex, Yunbi, potentially Gatecoin as well when they come up. So DGX could then be available not only from our platform but from secondary markets such as exchanges.
Right.
Okay.
Bittrex also has the DGD Ether pair as well. So I think that's the only exchange that has that pair.
Right.
There's no volume on that, but hopefully after this talk, people will find out about it and trade.
Yeah.
We got a question, sir.
Yeah. Okay. What's going on, Cam?
Hey, sir. I just had a question for the TTX team. Who is the issuer of TTX, and where is the backing stored? If I understand correctly, there is something backing. Was the DTX, I believe, coin specifically? So yeah, who's the issuer, and where is the backing stored?
All right, so maybe we could begin with the technology. So we came up with this protocol called the Proof of Asset Protocol. So it's a tri-party agreement between separate entities in this space. That would be the asset supplier. In this case, it would be ValueMax. It's an IPO company in Singapore that supplies our gold bullion to us. They supply Valcampi gold bars to us. It's an LBMA approved refinery. And then we have our current custodian, Malka Ahmed, located in the Freeport, that takes care of the gold storage. And we also have a private auditor, Inspectorate, which has been around for centuries, that does the quarterly audits of the gold bars. So we have these three entities with their signatures, the private keys, acknowledged in a smart contract before any of these digital gold assets can be issued, if that makes sense. So we're using the blockchain technology to track the asset throughout its entire chain of custody.
Yeah, I hear Singapore is a pretty prominent location for gold storage. So you guys kind of went with one of the bigger companies there. And so can you elaborate more on the whole proof of asset? Like, what's all ingrained in the blockchain? Like, what sort of documentation? Are we getting a selfie with you with a gold bar for every bar that's out there?
Yeah, we could do that as well.
Yeah, so actually, yeah. So every bar that is in our system has a photo along with its assay certificate from the manufacturer saying that it is a certified gold bar from their refinery that has the serial number. So the gold bar itself will have a serial number, and along in the picture you'll see the assay card with the serial number on the bar. And we also have the signature of the supplier as well as the recipient at the custodian facility that receives the bar. So those documents are on the blockchain, and every quarter when the audit happens, the audit documents are also added. The documents are put on IPFS, and the IPFS address is actually stored on the Ethereum contracts. So that's how the documents are tracked. Physical documents for the asset.
Yeah, you could actually look at our live beta app, and if you look into the Explorer, you could see how it's being laid out online.
So the asset itself is tracked by the serial number and its unique contract address. So that contract address can be sent to another Ethereum address or another contract that can interface with it. And it could also be minted. So the process of minting is basically taking a full gold bar certificate. Like let's say you have a 100-gram gold bar, you can send that gold bar into the minter. That will convert that into 1 gram gold tokens, DGX tokens, into your account. And in the reverse, you can recast those. If you have 100-gram tokens, you can recast that into a 100-gram gold bar, which you can then redeem or store for future use.
Okay, so this company that's kind of doing the third-party verification for you, like, are they kind of actively participating in like this whole project you guys are pushing out, or are they like putting in their own
Yeah, they currently have their own documentation. We're actually in talks with another custodian at this point that is probably going to be integrating our process more closely with their system. We're going to be making announcements about that in the future.
Yeah, Inspectorate is one of the world leader in certifying any kind of precious metals to any kind of precious assets. This includes cars, art pieces, precious gems, as well as precious metals. So Inspectorate has been around for quite a while, and a lot of banks and other bullion houses also use them for auditing and verification process. So we kind of trust the reputation of them, and they are actually one of the exclusive auditor that's available by our vault Malka Amit that provides this list of available vendors for us to use. So we do have plans as well to expand beyond Singapore. Right now our vaulting facility is all located here in Singapore, from purchase to storage as well as verification. So we're looking to expand probably regionally first to maybe somewhere in Hong Kong before actually going out to Europe, then to the North America regions. So do expect us to be storing gold on a decentralized fashion as well, not just in Singapore. So yeah, that could happen.
That's good to hear. So I read that there's actually no limit on DGX tokens since they're all based on the gold that your company owns or the company owns. So right now, can I only like go to Singapore and redeem, or am I able to have it mailed to me, or is there any sort of kind of redemption process in place, or are you guys still kind of working out this whole system?
Yep, that's correct actually. That there's no limit on the amount of DGX that we can issue, because it's all basically what the if you're purchasing gold bars, you can then issue your own DGX. So there's no limit on this. Right now for redemption processes, the cheapest one would definitely be if you were to be physically in Singapore, come to our vaults, have a look at the vault as well as retrieving your gold bar. Alternatively, you could arrange for international courier. We had already shipped out 2 bars to North America, so there's a process that we can facilitate international redemption orders. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So logistics is a little bit of a challenge for gold because certain countries have restrictions on shipping gold and restricting the amount of precious metals that can be imported into the country. So we have a list of countries that we do ship to. And like as Sean had said, the easiest way is to actually physically redeem it in Singapore. And users can actually also request private audits of the physical holdings that we have at any time. So you can schedule a private audit to actually see that we actually do hold the gold. You can do surprise visits, schedule it.
Now, is there a cost associated with that, or can I like DDoS the authentication of the gold?
Well, in order to do a private audit, you do need to provide us with KYC information for security purposes. So that limits the amount of spamming and trolling from outside people.
Yeah, you gotta watch those trolls. Okay, so I got a question here. Gold sales and trading is highly regulated. Who did you consult with on your project to ensure that it was legally compliant? Do you work through any government agencies or work with any experts?
Right. So we've been working closely with our regulators. We've met them quite frequently over the past year. They've given a go-ahead for what we do. We're not an exchange. There's no virtual currency intermediary at Digix. All we do is to put your asset ownerships on the blockchain. So in that sense, our business model is safe and sound. Actually, there are a couple of digital gold businesses in Singapore that has a much more complicated business model. Case in point, RippleSingapore.com. It engages in digital gold trading on Ripple itself. So these companies were in Singapore way before we started our product. So one thing good about our country, I'm Singaporean. One thing good about my country is that the regulators are very receptive to new technology. They've recently came up with this fintech sandbox environment. We applied Digix, our business model, into the sandbox, and they've given a reply that we don't really fall under this sandbox environment, which again is a good go ahead for us to pursue our dreams.
So the MAS does not regulate virtual currencies or the precious metals. Is not. They do have some regulations, but it is on spot trading. Don't fall into any that regulatory requirements for getting licenses.
Yeah, actually, when I was doing the research, one of my friends who's a big kind of gold and silver bug, he mentioned that he owns a lot of gold through a Singapore company. So it sounds like the service is already being used by people around the world. It's just kind of you guys have added another means of transacting and working with that system that's in place. But I'm glad to hear you have more locations planned because sounds kind of centralized.
Yeah. Yeah, gold actually in Singapore, it's is one of the few jurisdictions around the world that provides tax-free gold. So that's one of the huge advantages here in Singapore. And apart from that as well, we saw the huge potential in wealth management space, where people love to own physical gold in a hedge against geopolitical economic risk. So that's something that we definitely are looking forward to target a kind of market segment, and we're helping them to turn their illiquid asset into something that is spendable, something that you don't use it on your daily lives, as well as making it a lot more micro in some way. So yeah, having illiquid assets in our vaults here in Singapore, according to some of our other vendors, we had mentioned that it's kind of a market segment that they're looking to break into. So therefore, when Digix actually mentioned to them that we are helping to tokenize gold, they saw that as a huge advantage of working with us.
Cool. Yeah, I love the idea of tax-free gold. I think actually there's a gold company in Canada here that's lobbying the Canadian government to remove the what's it called, the capital gains on gold transactions. So Decontrol, I actually have a question for you guys. What's going on, guys?
Hey, sorry, it looks so dark. Just curious if you guys have looked into what BitShares has been doing with BitUSD and BitGold. Basically, it's not pegged to an asset. It's more pegged to the price of the asset through derivatives, and it's done in a decentralized way by a bot, which is, I guess, like a different philosophy than what you guys have. Also, just your thoughts on that, and do you know what's going on with Tether, the USD-backed token?
Yes. So like our philosophy is like basically like physical asset to the blockchain asset, right? So the idea is that we're not trading paper gold or ETFs. This is actually the tokens that you hold, the Digix tokens that you hold are actually backed one-to-one with physical gold and can be redeemed with physical gold. So that's one key difference that we have with the other derivative type gold-backed tokens. That's one thing that we have, and going to the other question, which was what was the other question was along the lines of.
I'm just curious. Have you been keeping up? Is Tether still going?
Yeah, Tether's still around. I think they have their current market cap is about $5 million.
I think it went up to 6 or 7. They've recently issued 3 million USD worth of USDT.
Right. So with Tether, like it's hard to prove that they really hold those assets, at any given like point in time. So and it is actually a lot more centralized than our model. But I think we like the idea of having like other fiat currencies on the blockchain as well. And I think there's some companies on Ethereum that are going to be doing that to do fiat gateway for euro and US dollar and other currencies. So they're coming into the Ethereum space.
I know the government is actually looking into currency for Canada, which is kind of interesting. Imagine the government going full blockchain, right?
Yep. There's no reason that they shouldn't be. If the security is there and blockchains prove themselves to be actually a good thing for them to use, I think that they'll eventually move to it. China is also doing their own cryptocurrency as well, state-backed cryptocurrency. I don't know if they're going to be using Ethereum, but hopefully they do.
What Tether needs to do to kind of verify that their funds are in blockchain form is just get it all in cash in like a big skid and then light it on fire, like in the Dark Knight movie. And then it's like, yeah, we've provably burned it into Ethereum token or the Tether. We got a question in the chat here. What are their thoughts on Xaurim? XAUR. It's another crypto, a gold-backed crypto that shifts their blockchain into an Ethereum one. I don't know if you guys have heard of that before.
Yeah, I did a cursory read on it. I would just say that it's not easy to build anything on Ethereum. It takes a lot of trial and error. It took us a full 2 years for us to build what we have right now. We started off building Digix on Counterparty, and we realized that it's just not as efficient and user-friendly as building it on Ethereum. So, I mean, I don't want to take the stage and say negative things about rival companies or competing companies, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that for us, just speaking exclusively about Digix, I think that building a gold-backed, any physical asset on the blockchain has like some challenges. One, making sure that the physical asset is always in the custodian's hands at any given time, and then also two, being able to actually pay for the storage costs. So our token system and our asset system has a storage fee and demurrage as part of the smart contract itself, so that at any given time we can collect to pay for the storage and the insurance for the assets. So because there is no such thing as free gold storage, right? So if some company is offering a gold-backed cryptocurrency, there has to be a way for them to pay for that storage. And storage and insurance can actually be quite significant expense for storing. The cost of carried gold is much higher than digital or fiat assets.
Yeah, on the point of derivative gold trading, so we had seen in previous history what happened when unallocated bullion or fractional reserve lending actually caused a lot of issues and unnecessary stress to the economy when it collapsed. So yes, true enough, a lot of people wouldn't really be bothered by where my gold physically is in terms of, is it a certificate, is it an ETF, or is it a physical gold bullion. We saw that as one of the pain point of the company where we want to really stress on the fact that we do issue only physical gold. To them right now, they may not see it as a huge benefit or huge bonus, but we believe that in the event of, let's say, an economic crisis, where if ETF markets were to really tank and physical redemption of bullion is not available, that's when people will start appreciating the whole fact of having fully allocated solution. And apart from doing this whole POA process, it's also mainly to demonstrate to the world that Digix is capable of doing proof of asset protocol. In other words, that we cannot be issuing just gold bars, but it could be any kind of physical asset that can be backed to a coin. So it can be even in precious gems, diamond stones. It could even be in art pieces, wine, champagne, or anything like that. So anything that is physically available, that can be stored, is what we're trying to achieve here. We're not using gold as one of the more relatable commodity for the start.
So,
yeah, definitely.
Sorry, back to Zorum coin. I might have not understood it correctly, but I think each Zorum coin doesn't represent 1 gram of gold. There's a deflationary aspect into that coin, where you could only turn them into gold bullion at a specific rate every interval, and that rate could keep on increase, something like that. I might be wrong, but I think it's not directly represented by 1 gram of gold per Zorum coin. So their business model is a little different from what we do, where 1 Digix is always 1 gram of gold.
Well, it's funny what you said earlier. It's like you don't want to take the stage to, besmudge your competition. So about a month ago, I went to Toronto to Gold Money Presents Max Kaiser, and that's the BitGold team. And during the Q&A period, I asked, I'm like, you guys are a centralized company with a centralized ledger. What's your opinion on this decentralized company with a decentralized ledger doing basically the same thing? And they're not bound to, I guess, the Canadian government or anything like that. And basically their answer was, well, Digix performed an illegal crowd sale for IOU tokens. I'm curious to hear what is, they said that on their statement. So I'm curious, what's your response to that comment that you guys aren't performing, the legal due diligence to have these IOU tokens?
Yeah, all I can say is that we, sorry. Yeah.
That's Anthony, I muted him.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, all I can say is that we work closely with our regulators. We've been in touch with them. We've done legal opinions, and yeah, we're doing things by the book. And the thing about the DAO, our Digix DAO, is that there's really no clear legal precedence for what it is. Even right now, there's no official statement about what it actually is. So, I mean, this is the risk that we take, and it's a calculated risk. We've done our due diligence on it, and we felt that this is doable, and we're not violating any laws at present.
Cool. Yeah. No, I figured as much because my response to that was basically, the Bittrex guys have a pretty, well-established legal team in terms of crypto and doing commodities and everything. So I was like, I don't think they would have got listed if they were illegal. So
actually, prior to us being listed on Bittrex, we actually spoke with Bitrex's legal counsel as well as their regulatory consulting company that they work with, and we described our business model, and they said that we have very low regulatory risk. That very low means that there's a lot of things. There are some things that, because this is such a new space, that there are no laws around it. So it's it's very low risk according to their attorneys and their consultants. So I think that as far as in the U.S., which probably has the most the strongest securities laws in the world, and they actually aggressively go after foreign companies as well. So I think that being low risk in the U.S. means that we also fall into that same risk or lower category in other countries as well.
Oh, interesting. So to go back on the BitGold, so their product is like a debit card, and then you can also redeem gold. But again, it's all done through their centralized company. Are you guys kind of planning on bringing this to like a debit card sort of scenario, or is it just you're building off of whatever Ethereum has?
Yep. Absolutely. So, yeah, maybe Sean, you could. Sorry, I'm hearing too much echo. Yeah. So we've been in talks with OneBit. It's an outfit based in Singapore, which is a payment processor for virtual currencies, and they have plans to integrate DGX onto their platform.
Yep. So OneBit primary listing will be Bitcoins as well as Digix Gold, and they are very interested in using silver coins. Sorry. So they're interested to be issuing silver coins on the platform. They are currently right now 2 to 3 weeks away from launching their debit card, so we can potentially see a Digix-backed card in the by the end of August. Yep, that's definitely very hopeful. On the front end as well as on using Digix platform and being widely available to the public. Probably Chris, you can mention a little bit more about the upcoming plans that we have here on the client.
Sure. So I guess one of the things that wasn't really touched on much was the future vision, I guess, of what these tokens might be used for in the future. So as opposed to the other gold-backed cryptos, DGX tokens will be usable in Ethereum smart contracts. They're in a standardized format, EIP20. So we hope that in the future they'll be using all kinds of exotic, cool, interesting contracts. And to kind of make that happen, we've been developing a light wallet user interface that will have support for Digix tokens built in that app developers can import into their project, and with very little effort they'll have out-of-the-box support for trading DGX tokens and using them in their application.
Cool. Well, I know Anthony Diorio of Jax. He probably is very interested in working with you guys on having voting and whatnot in the app, because he did all the work for the Slockit DAO, and yeah, that's kind of wasted now, I guess. So he's probably looking for new DAOs. But yeah, the whole proof of asset thing you guys have developed is really cool. And I think doing it with gold is probably the best profit margin to kind of trial it on, or at least the best margins. I know it's something that I'm looking into more for even smaller things. Hopefully going to have the Providence team on who are doing like food and goods tracking. So chains of custody, I guess, is the terminology I've heard it called. But yeah, really cool to hear that you guys are kind of working more. So these coins that you're going to have, these are going to kind of be like additional tokens, or are they still going to be like DGX tokens, or there's going to be that with like a slightly different indicator on it or something?
Yeah, it's probably going to be DGS for silver or something more appropriate, and DGX is for the gold. And
So
will have its its own symbol, and of course, because the Digix tokens are standard EIP20 tokens, like Chris had said, you can actually create token derivatives out of DGX and maybe silver. So you can create a silver type or gold back and silver back token, your own token. That you can issue using your existing gold and silver tokens in the future.
Yeah, one of the useful things there is that the stability compared to Ethereum as a base token will enable more long-term contracts between individuals, where price volatility is an important thing that needs to be relatively stable,
Right. So
like salaries and loans.
So imagine an insurance contract, that pays up a certain amount at a given time, in an event, using like a non-stable coin like Ether, where the volatility might go, you might have like 20% volatility in one day. You want to run, execute that insurance contract. That might not be a good idea, but having a gold back or something, stable coin back contract seems like it's good in Ethereum.
Where's my mute button? Am I muted? Oh, no. Okay, so at this point, I think we'll go back to Decontrol to see if you guys have any more questions. Any hands up?
I have a question generally about the DTF. So, how is it similar to an ETF? And how is it similar to a backed commodity fund? I mean, those are two different things. They operate very differently in the real world. But in terms of kind of explaining or marketing it, where do you think DGX will fit in? And number two, we have to be careful using some of these terms because of the legal implications, in terms of if it was an ETF, then say you'd be considered an issuer, so basically an exchange. Yeah, so can we use words like that? Which words should we use, and is there a legal problem with that?
Right. So I think the main similarity that we share with an ETF or any other gold commodity-backed fund is the exposure to gold. I think that's far as the similarity goes. With legal complication about how ETF is to us, we don't really want to use those terms because they are, in other words, like securities that are backed by various authorities such as the SEC or even the CFTC. So we don't really want to be along those lines. So we're just mainly showing them that our platform allows the user to issue tokens through a smart contract that's backed by physical gold. And it allows you to transfer these tokens peer-to-peer, which is not available on an ETF basis. So an ETF is more of a bigger kind of investment that you go into, Whereas for Digix Gold, it's more of like micro investments. It could be like what BitGo called himself, like saving plans that you have on gold. So legally, we don't really want to call ourselves any form of an investment vehicle or any kind of security, but we are just a physical bullion store that is put online. It allows you to buy these gold tokens that make it tradable peer to peer. Yeah, so it's the exposure of gold that you're looking for in an ETF that you can find similarly on Digix.
Cool. I hope that covers that. I hope that answers your question. Any other questions from the guys in the basement there? Yeah, thumbs up. Perfect. Um, yeah, I think I'm kind of exhausted on what questions I have too. Yeah, how customers know that there really is gold backing your DGX tokens. Yeah, we kind of went over that. Let's see. What sort of testing are you guys doing on your smart contracts? Do you guys have a third party kind of on it? Are you using the same ones that the DAO used, or are you guys kind of floating around and finding lots of different solidarity devs to kind of look over for bugs and everything?
Yeah, so we're looking to have our core 2.0 platform audited by a third-party company once we're ready to launch that. But as far as our contract design philosophy goes, we want to keep everything simple, because keeping things simpler means that it's a more narrow attack surface for security problems. So keeping like simplicity is a very important thing for us. And sometimes that simplicity actually becomes more of an inconvenience to the end user, because instead of running one function, they might have to run two functions to perform something. So we're looking around, other patterns in the future as well to make it more airtight and more secure. But we're starting off with something more simple and then upgrading it as the tooling around Solidity becomes more mature, where the training wheels can come off and we can become more automated or more robust in features in the future.
So Anthony, you seem very knowledgeable on Ethereum. Are you the only Ethereum developer? Are you guys kind of working with Vitalik and his cronies, or what sort of support network is there on the technical side?
Well, Chris is also he's a beginning DApp developer as well, so he knows Solidity, and I'm cross training him on the Solidity stuff as well. And when we started the original platform, I definitely was very active in the Ethereum forums and the Gitter chat room, asking questions, and we've actually shown some of the contracts to some of the Ethereum dev people in the beginning, looking for support and advice on how to design things. But we're looking to actually have the Core 2.0 platform audited by a third party, and the contracts will be made available to the public as well for bug bounties and other such things.
Nice. So we actually have a question in the YouTube chat here. Are you guys hiring? Are you looking to expand your team?
Yeah, you could send us your resume.
Yes. We're always looking for talented people who are looking to help out. Maybe if you guys are enthusiastic about what we're doing, reach out to us on our Slack or send us an email, and be happy to talk about it.
Nice. Yeah, no, I've been saying since I got in the space, if you know blockchains or smart contracts, Solidity, like you are like the most in-demand computer science person on the planet right now. Like there should be no issue with you finding employment. So it's good to hear that you guys are hiring as well. So I guess we'll kind of get to the point of wrapping up here. We have a little tradition here on Blocktalk where we end the show with a prediction on what the Bitcoin price is going to be in a week's time. Like I'd ask you guys what Digix is going to be worth, but that'd be kind of insider trading, and don't want you to get in any trouble. So we just stick to Bitcoin because it's easier that way. So going around the table, Casey, what do you think the Bitcoin price is going to be next Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern
I
Standard
think
Time?
it's stabilizing at 650, so I'll just go with 650.
Cool. All right, Anthony.
I'm going to say 665. I'm a little bit higher on that one.
5. All right, Chris.
I'll go 666.
Ooh, the devil's number. Praise Satan. Okay, and then Sean.
I'm pretty hopeful. I think it's close to 670. 675. 675, yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
675. Guys are getting a pretty tight range here. I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be a little bearish. I think we need a little pullback before we see the moon. We gotta squeeze out those miners. I'm gonna say 620. And then we'll go to decontrol. See if you guys have any guesses for us.
10,000.
Cameron, you said that last week. One of these days you'll be right.
You dream, Kenny.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, I'm right there with you. Like, at that point, I don't care about losing. Any other guesses in the space there?
550.
550. What's your name, my man?
Gavin.
Gavin. 550. Alright, anyone else? Close this puppy up.
8,000.
Oh, cutting in the middle. Who's that?
Yeah.
Can I say, that was Jen. I was gonna say though that this lottery can be hacked because there's no economic cost whatsoever to the wager, and any lottery that has no economic cost to the wager is invariably going to get hacked on it.
You're saying my Bitcoin price predictions is subject to, malleability?
And ballot stuffing and God knows what else.
Oh, well, it's all just for fun, I could put $5 bets on it. When we started doing the show, we did kind of put $5 bets on it, but I had to chase everyone down, and it just got too difficult. So soon, when Augur or Bitcoin Hive Mind goes live, I'll get the prices locked in, and then we'll let the public bet on it. So there'll be an open betting market on all these prices. See who's right.
Yeah.
There you go.
So thank you so much, you guys, Casey, Sean, Chris, Anthony. Any closing remarks before we sign off here?
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
You could always join us in our Slack. Just get onto our main site, and at the bottom of it, there will be an invite link to get onto our Slack channel. We're usually available 24/7. If we don't respond, it means that we're out of town or we're busy, but we usually reply you within 24 hours.
Yeah, and we have a couple of exciting plans that we'll be announcing in the coming week as well as early August. So I don't really want to break the surprise right now, so just stay tuned and use your a little bit. But we have blog posts as well on Medium, so we can definitely keep track of our progress there.
Yeah, and we'll also be at DevCon this year.
Right, DevCon. Yeah.
So you guys are there, say hi.
Yeah, we will be presenting on the day 3 of DevCon regarding Digix security robustness as well as the use of a stable coin in today's economy. So that will be on day 3. So if you're coming by DevCon or if you know anyone, just say hi.
All right, and once again, if you guys aren't able to make it to China, you can always come to the Fab Expo in Toronto. And, you can find me and say Blocktalk's the greatest. I'll give you a T-shirt. You can do the same thing in China, but you're gonna have a hard time getting a T-shirt. So feel free to run around shouting that at the top of your lungs. All right. Once again, thank you everyone for joining us, and you know what? See you in the next 1,000 blocks.